Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Notts to Talk About, a Notts County podcast. How are you, Casey?
Good, mate. I'm good. I'm feeling very happy to be back filming. What about you, brother?
Yeah, really good, mate. There's lots to talk about this week. We say that every week, I think, but at the minute, it's been a really busy time for the club. Obviously, it's January, so there's been signings to talk about, as we'll get into, but I think we'll just kick it off with the main bit of news. Obviously, our search for a head coach came to an end as we appointed Stuart Maynard and Matty Saunders as his assistant. Um, what are your thoughts on that appointment? First of all, what do you make of it? Were you glad that the decision was made? Obviously, it was made before the Stockport game, which didn't happen. But were you glad at the timing as well as the appointment?
I think, obviously, bearing in mind we had a game, we were scheduled to have the game on Saturday. I thought, yeah, it was good timing. But I think in terms of the actual appointment, I'm no, I'm no stranger to admitting that when I say that I wasn't hopeful of having him in as the manager. I had my doubts, obviously. Like it's difficult not to, especially like I've said it before. When you go from someone like Luke Williams, who's now gone to the Championship, bringing in someone from obviously, and again, I hate saying the term part-time setup, but when you bring someone in from somewhere like that at Wealdstone, it's kind of like, oof, it's a bit of a risk, but it don't take much to convince me, mate, I must say. So when I got back and I listened to his interview and he spoke well and he sold me quite into the Maynard dream, it was one of them for me. But yeah, I think he'll do well. Obviously, for someone like you who knows him quite well, I think this is something that you can probably answer a bit better than me.
Yeah, mate. For me, it was a dream appointment. Obviously, we mentioned it when we originally spoke about candidates, and he's been my top choice all the way through. And I can speak to his character. He's a brilliant person. He's invited me into Wealdstone training before when he was Wealdstone manager, and I've got to know him and that management team quite well. And they're brilliant people. The level of detail is incredible. Um, it's going to be like you say, it is a part-time setup, and you're not being disrespectful when you say that. Wealdstone are a part-time team, but the amount of hours and work they put in, I think that they'll actually have less to do now. Like everything was them. Recruitment was all down to them. They go to a game every single night of the week, pretty much, and they're not have to do that now. They've got a recruitment team in place, and these guys are incredible coaches. The level of detail, like I keep saying, is impeccable. I don't want to give too much away of what I saw when I was at Wealdstone, but it's going to be a continuation of what we've had. But I'm actually optimistic that it can be, you know, even better. And I think, like yourself, there's a risk element. To be honest with you, I didn't think that we would go for an appointment from the National League. Obviously, I'm over the moon that we have. What are your hopes? Obviously, we're going to preview Barrow a little bit later on in the episode. But what are your hopes for them in the short term? Obviously, we know they've been given a long contract, and long term, we know what the idea and the vision is. But what is your hopes for them short term? Do you think they can come in and make an immediate impact? Because obviously, we've got an issue defensively, as we've spoken about. Do you think that they could get us a little bit tighter at the back straight away?
I think they have to. If that's the only way we're going to be successful now this season, is like if we tie up at the back. Like I said in last week's episode, I think it was like you can afford to sacrifice 2 goals, because if we still score 3 a game, that's enough to win you any game of football if you have a good enough defence. So it's just one of them. I think if we shore up the defence, we'll have a good run in this patch of games where we've got a lot of the big clubs in this division. And then that good run would normally sit you just outside the automatics. And realistically, without being disrespectful to any of the teams that we've got left to play after this run, it's a favourable run. So you never know what's going to happen there. I think a bad run in this term, in the short term, a bad run in this run of games would see us competing to get into the playoffs. A good run would see us comfortably in there, and then obviously competing for the automatics, which I think if we can do that, then that's his short-term ambition ticked off. Because although we're sixth now and we're a couple points behind the automatics, I have zero doubt that the owner's ambition is to challenge for it. So even though he said himself there's not a lot of pressure well, or he don't feel pressure. He will know that the pressure is on him straight away. But again, we're in January now. We're obviously going to talk about the recruitment and the new signing, but he's still got time, and I still expect more players to come in. But yeah, the short-term goal has to be for me to at least concrete yourself in them playoffs. And I'm going to throw that question right back to yourself.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they will make an impact straight away. I think they have probably noticed things. I mean, he's even mentioned it himself. We sometimes, and we spoke about it last week, the back three, as much as they get criticised for individual errors, a lot of the time we aren't helping them out. And I think that's going to be their first port of call, is getting the help for that back three. And that will come through changing the structure. That will come through subtle tweaks that they're going to implement. And I think they'll definitely get that out of us. There's no point sugarcoating it. It's an extremely tough run. And I just hope that, and I think we'll get behind them no matter the results of these games. They are potentially season defining matches. A really bad run, like you say, could definitely take us out of the automatic race, and might make it hard for us to get in that top seven. But obviously the new manager bounce, people call it. That is a thing. It's a fresh pair of eyes, a fresh set of eyes completely on this group, and we know we've got the quality, especially going forwards, to compete at the top level. So with some small changes, not a lot needs to change. We're still a top team in this league. We're still top 6 team in this league, as the league table shows. Not a lot needs to change. Only change a little bit, and I think that they have got the potential and the capacity to do that. Is there anything that has particularly impressed you about the way he's spoken, or anything the way he carries himself, or is there anything that he said that gives you encouragement, or is it a case of that it's a wait and see, you trust the brothers to get the appointment right?
Yeah, I think in terms of being encouraged, I think just the way he came into that interview and he sat down and he didn't look like he was thinking on the spot. He looked like someone who knew exactly how he was going to fight. But you don't just do that by fluke. You do that because you know what you're going to come in and do. And I think that's the biggest praise you can pay him right now. I don't think I don't think the opportunity's overwhelmed him. That's why I think he knows that he's deserved something like this for a long time now. And again, no disrespect to the players that he had at Willstone, but I've said this again. He's coming into a team now where he didn't have anyone like Macaulay Langstaff. He didn't have players with the profile of David McGoldrick, John Bostock, Matty Palmer. The list could go on. But he hasn't looked overwhelmed in the slightest in anything that I've seen of him so far. And even in like the two interviews and the bits you've seen on the training pitch, like the club posted, he's looked completely natural, and that's obviously a testament to him, because when you come to a club of this size in the position that we are in the league, there's a lot of pressure on you to obviously. There's a lot of eyes on it for a start, and then obviously you have that sort of like wave of opposition fans that come in and laugh, and they do all that stuff online where they try and get clicks. But end of the day, that's definitely a big sign for me that he didn't look overwhelmed at all when he came in, and he genuinely looks like he's worked very hard in his career to get in. He has. I mean, he's worked 19 years as a full-time BT engineer and a part-time football manager. So I'm happy for him in terms of that, and I think now the more that I speak about him, the more that I'm happy with the appointment. And I just think as well, like, it's just the minor details that you see. It's like from the video that got released of the training session. Like, there's so many clips in there already where he's doing one-to-ones. I mean, the one that sticks out to me the most is John Bostock, because like especially with someone like John, you need to form that relationship almost instantly. Especially with a player who I think he will sign a new deal, but for someone who's out of contract in the summer, if your ambition is for him to sign a new deal, you've got to form that partnership with him straight away and say, look, that's why we want to keep you. But yeah, again, I'm going to throw that question right back to you, because I'm pretty sure you've got a lot to answer with it too.
Yeah, I think you're right about him not being overawed by it. I think it's an opportunity he's been waiting for a long time, and I think this is a good chance to bring our thoughts for Willstone in. I think there was a definitely sentiment from their fans that he was going to have to go full time. They were going to have to offer him a full time position at the end of the season to keep hold of him, because it was kind of getting to the point where he needed to go full time. His feet were itching a bit. He had to take that opportunity to go. and that brings us on to Wheelstone. I just want to say, obviously we know how they feel. It happened to us this month, and we're probably in a luckier position in the sense that we've got, a lot of more money behind us than they do, for example, and we've got a structure in place where we've been able to find a coach. So yeah, for Wheelstone fans that potentially are listening to this because of we're talking about the manager, obviously, hopefully it all works out for them. But in terms of structure of the club, and that's one of the things that definitely would have attracted them to Notts, is the recruitment that's in place already. And that has seen us bring in Jaden Warner this week on loan from Norwich City, central defender. What do you make of this move? Is it going to transform our defence, and has it got the potential to push us towards the promotion places?
Look, we're back. Let's just put it that way. I hope everyone enjoyed our rough patch, because this is, for me, the most serious statement of intent that we've made for a long time. Since probably Maka signed his new deal. Because, I mean, let's just speak about like what he's done this season. He's made his Carabao Cup debut against Fulham away, and according to their supporters, he looked the part in that. And from the clip that we put out last night, it was clearly evident how he was. Since then, he's done his Championship debut, played a lot of games in their under-21 setup, and then came here. So there's absolutely no like almost surprise that it took so long to get this done. Because when you have the opportunity to bring in someone like Warner off of, I mean, we've not seen him kick a ball yet, but from what you've seen of him, it's obviously he looks like he's going to be a massive part. And just like it, I watched the clip last night, and his athleticism, his pace, but also his height, it's like Jesus Christ, like what is this guy? But I think he's definitely going to come in he will play a lot of games for us. I definitely think that. And yeah, I'm very happy with the signing. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I said it online, but I don't think I've been this excited about a not signing for a long, long time. I think I'm more excited about this signing than any sign we made in the summer, which is crazy. Could be signed McGoldrick in the summer like that, But this signing, I really do believe he has the potential to play at a very, very, very high level. And I don't want to put pressure on him by giving all these, big statements about him, and don't want to set him up to fail if he doesn't meet those expectations. But having watched him, I watched a lot of him yesterday. I watched the full 90 minutes of him on his Championship debut against Blackburn. He didn't look out of place. His first action of the game, he plays a lovely ball inside. He's so composed, and that's the main thing for me, is his composure. When he's defending the box, he's so calm, and he doesn't just hoof it away. He looks of where his teammates are and looks to play that pass when he's under pressure. And even when he's dealing with a cross, he's able to just use his body and knock the ball down to a teammate. And he just looks so calm all the time. And like you've mentioned, his athleticism is an absolute joke. He's 6'4". He covers the ground so well. Like a winger will have a head start on him, and he just, because his stride is so long, he's gone in a matter of seconds. He's there. He's closed the gap, and he's putting that challenge in, or he just looks fantastic. And obviously, this will be his first experience playing regularly 13 minutes at senior level. Obviously, he's made a fair few appearances this season for Norwich at a much higher level. Their fans seem to think he should be playing. So that's always a positive. If he's as good as the last Norwich loanee we had, if he has as bigger impact as him, then obviously we're onto a winner. What happens to the back three then? We've now got Warner, we've got Macari, Bowling, Cameron, Brindley, Rawlinson. Who would be your first choice back three? And do you think he'll get minutes? Because obviously Ollie Tipton has been obviously recalled by Wolves. He was signed and didn't really get much game time. Do you think that Warner is going to be guaranteed in that team?
Yeah, I do. I think he starts against Barrow, and I think he starts pretty much every game going forward. Because the difference is with Warner, this was a lengthy pursuit. Like, we heard about this at the start of the month, and it's took this long to get him in. There was obviously interest elsewhere, and we lost a manager. That's probably what slowed it down. But we were fans of him for weeks now, and it's just got over the line. With Tipton, it was a trialist, and he looked good in the trial, but then he kind of got sent away, and then he came back. So that to me said, or maybe something didn't work out in terms of someone else who wanted to send him. He just went back in for Tipton. And to be fair, Tipton he's a good player. He's a decent player. Just was never going to work out here. I don't know what it was with him, but I could always tell it was never going to work out. But Warner, I think 100% starts. I think he starts in the back three. That's made up of him, Baldwin, and Cameron. I think Baldwin's the best defender we have by a mile currently. I think Cameron, obviously, you have your leadership, but you also know what you're going to get from Cameron. It's harsh on Macari, but I do think it'd be worth loaning him out, to be honest. Just to send him somewhere where he's going to get the regular minutes. He's our player now. You don't have to worry about, obviously, him going back anywhere because he's not getting the minutes. He's our player to look after. I think anyone 12th or below in League Two would definitely snap someone up like him. Anyone challenging for promotion in the National League will also look at it the same way. I think just to be certain that he's going to get regular minutes, I think you've just got to make that move. And obviously we've still got Rawlinson here anyway. If worst comes to worst, we have to play backup. So yeah, I think that's probably best. I only mentioned that because I've seen it a lot last night of people debating, what the back three's going to look like. I can't see it being anything different to Cameron, Baldwin and Warner, and therefore I think that obviously the next best thing for Macari would be to send him out on loan. But obviously, again, probably with a recall option just in case we get an injury here, because I think Macari currently would be higher in the pecking order than someone like Rawlinson, although minutes say otherwise. I just think in terms of what you actually want and how this squad to play, Rawlinson's definitely your big tackler and your big winner. But in terms of playing with the ball at his feet and looking composed, he has to be Macari. But again, how would you see us lining up in this back three, bro?
I agree on the starting three for sure. I think, Warner and Baldwin, I think what's good about those two is you could probably either could play in the middle, either could play to the right. I think you both have got the ability to play either role. Cameron's sort of nailed on the left-hand side of the back three. He's the captain, he's a leader. He's the only left-footed centre-back at the club. And also he has a lot of quality on the ball and, getting forward. And I think that with the new management team, we're going to see these new overloads with the wide centre-backs. And I think that he's going to be crucial to that. And so is Warner. I'll be interested to see if he is to the right or if he's in the middle. I'm going to throw a curveball in about Macari. I think it's an interesting suggestion, what you said. I'm going to throw a curveball in, and I'm going to say maybe, I'm not saying it's going to happen straight away, but we might see him at right wing back because he played as a right back in Ireland when he was on loan there. And I do think that maybe the new management team will look to have a more solid option at wing back. I can't see us changing Jody Jones. I really can't. I think when a player's on 16 assists and in the form, is it the form of his life? It's definitely one of the best periods of his football for sure. And he's playing the way he is. You can't change that, which obviously is very harsh on Aaron, who we praised last week. And I'm not saying it. That's why I'm not saying it's going to happen straight away. But I think that we might see Macari used in that role. I mean, we might not. That's just an idea that sort of popped into my head as we're thinking about it. But I think that you're right. The back three is going to be Warner and Baldwin, and then it's going to be Cameron to the left. Now, what we promised on the pod early on was segments and games and things like that. And before we get into the Barrow preview, we want to try out a new game. It's going to be, and if you guys have got any suggestions for a name for this, please let us know. The Q&A section is open on Spotify, or you can comment below on YouTube if you're watching on there, or obviously you can tweet us on X. You can tag us and give us suggestions for a name for this segment. But the idea is going to be a Notts player, and it's going to go from the start of their career, and we're going to read the clubs out one by one, and the other person has got to guess who the player is. So it's going to be KC up this week to guess. So I'm going to get the first player up. For a start, how are you feeling about this?
I would be lying if I said I've not done a lot of this before, because the people I lived with last year, we did do this quite regularly. Doesn't mean I'm going to get many first try, but we'll find out.
Right, we're going to start with this player. We're going to start with current Notts players. We might branch out to. There's a little clue for you there. He's currently a Notts player. He's got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 clubs, including Notts. He started his career at Middlesbrough between 2007 and 2010.
Do you want me to guess off that?
It's up to you. You can guess off that, or I can go to the next team. Right, and then between 2014 and 2015, he played for Stockton Town.
Macca.
Yeah, it's correct.
Easy. That one gave it away. The Stockton Town, I'll give it away.
Yeah, right. We'll do another one. No, that one was a bit too easy. We'll make it a little bit harder. This player, again, another current Notts player, has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 clubs, including Notts, a similar amount to Macca.
Jesus.
Between 2008 and 2011, he played for Fulham. Do you want the next club yet? Between 2011 and 2014, he played for Wycombe Wanderers. This is a tough one. I made this one a bit tougher. Then in 2013, he went on loan to Hendon.
Next.
And then between 2014 and 2016, he went there on loan and then he signed permanently for Boreham Wood. And you might be able to work out what position he is from this. He played in his time at Boreham Wood. His loan, he played 15 games, got 8 goals. And then when he signed permanently, he played 56 games and got 12 goals.
So he went from Fulham to
Fulham to Wycombe Wanderers, then to Boreham Wood.
Next.
Difficult one, this. He then went on loan to Whitehawk and then signed permanently in 2016 for St Albans City.
Oh my!
And again, he played 20 games, scored 9 goals. I wouldn't have known he played for. Don't feel bad. I wouldn't have known he played for any of these, to be honest.
I think it's. I'm going to throw Julian Marais' name in there.
Is correct, Junior Marias.
Easy. Well,
You did well there. You did well because that was tough. That was tough. Right, let's do one more. Let's go with this player here. So again, another current Notts player. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clubs, including Notts. He started in 2013 to 2015 Eastbourne Borough.
Next.
Then between 2015 and 2016, he played for Peterborough United.
Next.
2016, 2017, he moved to Ireland to play for Sligo Rovers.
Oh. Next.
2017, 2018, he then stayed in Ireland. He played 1 game for this team, Cork City. Played 1 game. So just to recap, he started at Eastbourne, then went to Peterborough, then to Sligo, then to Cork. And here's another clue for you. He's got 1 career goal, according to Wikipedia.
Oh my goodness me. I'm not going to say next. I'm just going to stab at somebody here. I have to think.
If he's watching this, let us know if that is correct. I bet he's got more than 1 career goal, but that's what Wikipedia is saying. So, don't come at us for that.
I'm trying to think who's got more than that for us.
According to this, he never scored for us.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I'm trying to think if he has. Don't know. Do you want to give the next team?
I'm going to have to say next, yeah, because I can't think of anyone who hasn't scored.
Then he played for Bromley in 2018. 10 appearances for Bromley.
Oh my gosh.
It's a tough one. I thought I'd end on a tough one.
thing is, it's not, I'm still thinking about who hasn't scored. I mean, I can't think of any. Brindley.
No, it's not Brindley. It's not Brindley.
Probably.
Right. I think, yeah, Brindley has played for Bromley, though, I think. Then he went back to where it all started. He went back to Eastbourne Borough between 2018 and 2020. Made 57 appearances for them. So, good amount of games.
Oh, my God.
It's tough. It is tough. I'm not just saying that. Again, I'm not sure I would have got this.
It's actually giving me a headache just trying to think.
People who are watching this probably shouting out the answer.
Yeah, they
screaming the answer out.
You have to say next again. This is so bad.
Right.
This
is the last team before we joined Notts. Ebbsfleet United.
Oh.
2020 to 2022. 39 games.
It's Toby.
It's Toby. He's correct.
Wow.
Toby is correct. He hasn't scored for us, has he? I can't think. Has he?
No.
He hasn't. Right. So that is it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the game. Let us know if you've got any name suggestions, any player suggestions as well. Although, if you've got player suggestions, send them on the Q&A because producer Charlie will be able to see them. And that could be ex-players or players that have come up against us for other clubs. I'm just thinking anyone. Could be anyone. You guys send them through the Q&A. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Any other ideas as well for games like that, let us know. Well done, mate, for that. I'm going to try and take the pressure off you now. Barrow, how are you feeling about Saturday? First game under new management.
Yeah, before I answer that, I would just like to say, Toby, if you're watching, I generally did not mean for that to go right down to the wire. I probably should have got that from the Bromley. I don't know why I said Brindley, like he hadn't scored this season, never mind anyone else. But yeah, let's move on to the Barrow anyway. It's a big game. There's absolutely no doubt about that. It's a big game. I think it's smaller in the magnitude of it. It's a lot. We're a lot better off playing this one than we would have been Stockport, obviously, with the week that Maynard will have with the players. But still a big game. They got beat 3-1 by Crew. Doesn't mean anything. Literally does not mean anything. Because the amount of times that we've been beaten and then turned someone over the week after, it literally does not mean anything. I think you have to approach it, and we will approach it in the manner of this is obviously the first game with the new Gaffrey wants to win. I think again the fans, the 10,000 that's going to probably turn up is they're going to be right up for it as per usual. I just think I don't want to sound cliche, but we have to put on a bit of a show because you need. For anyone who's doubted the appointment, myself included, although I am sold, but again, it didn't say much to sell me, you just have to speak well in an interview. For anyone who doubted it, it's really important to get off to a winning start and a convincing winning start as well, because, yeah, I think that, for me, would be perfect for someone like Maynard, because obviously, again, the pressure on him with the step up, etc., to come up and to turn over one of the best teams in the division, in my opinion, beat one of the best managers in the division in Pete Wild, it would be a huge statement. So, again, what about yourself?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's a huge game. The magnitude of this game, not because it's their first game, but if you look at this from the outside looking in, this is two teams that at home, only Wrexham and Stockport picked up more points than us at home. We've played less games than them. So you never know. After this we've got the chance to catch them up a bit if we win this one. Away from home, only Mansfield have picked up more points than Barrow. So you're looking at two teams who are at their best in these scenarios. Obviously, when we played Barrow, it was a tough game. Obviously, it was a bit of a disappointing result at the time, but I think looking back on it, a point there looks quite good. They're a tough team to break down, and it's going to be interesting to see how we do it. Will we look to break teams down in the same way? Will Maynard have had enough time to change a few things? I think one thing we've got to guard against, he didn't start against Crewe, but Emil Ackworth, whenever he's played against us, has caused us loads of issues. For Maidenhead, he scored. I think he scored 2 the last time we played them, and he causes issues whenever we play against him. He's the exact type of forward we don't want to play about. He's big, he's powerful, he's quick. Nightmare for our defence. But obviously, if we've got Jaden Warner in there, you never know, it might be a different type of matchup for him. And he might not start. but he's just a player that I like to highlight because he has had success against us before. But in terms of Barrow, I think we'll have loads of the ball. Don't think we'll have any issues with that. It's about whether we can open them up, create the chances, and also whether we can guard against their threats on the counter. I think that's going to be the big question. Have you got any predictions for the game? We did score prediction last week. Do you want what's your score prediction? Have you got any lineup predictions? Obviously, I'm not asking you to name the full 11, but do you think there's going to be any changes to what we usually see, or do you think it's just going to be Warner that comes in?
Well, I can run through the lineup because I think it makes itself really. I think it'd be Stone, back five of Jones, Baldwin, Warner, Cameron, and Mane. The two in the midfield will be Bostock and Robertson. The two ahead of that will be Crowley and McGoldrick, and then Macca up front. I think that's the way you're going to look at starting. So I think Maynard said it himself. He's not going to come in and change much. He's just got to tweak a few things, and that's the biggest praise you can pay to Williams, because it's not like even Maynard said it again. It's not like he's coming into an environment where we're struggling and it's off the back of a manager being sacked. It's because we're doing well and the manager's to move on to a bigger and better job. So I don't see a lot being tweaked. My score prediction, 6-5 maybe. No, I'm joking. I don't know. Look, it depends how much we've got sorted in a week. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet immediately. I think that's difficult. I'd say I'd go 3-1. I think I'm confident with the 3-1. Barrow obviously just got beaten 3-1, and let's hope the immediate history repeats itself. But I think it's like what I said to you when if enough's changed in this week, and Maynard's, which I have no doubt, by the way, that he actually, if he's came and he's implemented what he wants to do, like I said, instead of going and scoring 5 or 4 goals at every game, you will have to sacrifice some goals. So therefore, score less, concede less, you still have the same outcome. Well, actually, you have a better outcome than what we've had recently. But yeah, 3-1. I think for me, but I honestly think we'll go 1-0 down. That's what I think. Notts play better going 1-0 down. I would hate for us to go 2-0 up and be complacent. That's the thing, because it happens. It's happened plenty of times this season where we've got in 2-0. The one that sticks to me most is the Forest Green one, because we went in 2-0, came out, didn't look like we want to play football again, went back into 2-0, and then suddenly we had a game back on our hands, when in reality we should have left that game winning 6 or 7-0. So, yeah, 3-1 for me. What about you?
I'm going to agree on the amount of goals. I'm going to go 2-2. And that's a bit negative, I know, but I think and a point. Look, we can win at home against Barrow. I'm not saying we can't. I think I would probably take a point for the first game because it's a quality team. I know they lost the last game, but it's a quality team and it's the manager's first game. But I think we'll go out and we'll go for it. We'll look to get on the ball. We'll look to dominate. Like you said, I think he's going to get a clean sheet overnight. If he did, that would be incredible. And I hope that if we do go 1-0 down, like you said, that the fans get behind it, and we will. I know we will. I hope the fans get behind this team. I hope they get behind this manager and make that atmosphere as positive as possible. I believe it's to bring a friend for £1 for season ticket game, which really ties in really nicely for a first game. Let's get Meadow Lane, packed. Let's bring someone if you can, if you're a season ticket holder. Get down if you're not. And then try and get behind the manager for his first game. Let's show him what that Meadow Lane atmosphere is all about. He'd been there as a manager of Wheelstone before, but let's show him how he means to go on. Let's get behind him. And look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right. I'd snap your hand off for 3-1. I think that'd be absolutely brilliant. Before we go, we are going to read out a couple more, as promised, a couple more of your how you got into Knott's comments. Again, keep sending those in. Absolutely love doing them. And again, as Casey said last week, we're not being a professional by going on our phones. We are reading out the comments. So I'll go with one to start from Adam. He said, "My dad took me when I was young. Him and his brother used to go down over 60 years ago, and it's been in the family since. Now my son is a fan, and 3 generations sit in the cop at home games." So I think that is quite an amazing story there. 60 years ago. That is an incredibly long time to be supporting this football club. I wonder where we'll be in 60 years. Maybe you guys could answer that one in the comments. Have you got one to read out, mate?
Let's have a look quickly.
Or do you want me to go again while you're finding one?
No, I can go, mate. I can go. So there's one here from Alan White. I don't think he's been read out just yet. But he said, when I was in the army in the 70s, stationed in Germany, my dad used to send me all the local football papers, Football Post, Screening, Derby Evening Telegraph, and so on. So when I was demobbed, I got no affiliation to any particular team. Sat in the pub Saturday, August 30th, 1975. So if that's the way he's... Oh, we've got more, sorry. With about 6 Red Dogs and 4 or 5 Notts fans who were going to Forest versus Notts at the City Ground, so I tagged along. I was asked who I would be shouting for, so I said whoever wins will be my team for life. It looked like being 0-0 until Les Brad popped up with a last minute, I'm going to say, winner, and the rest, as I say, is history. So that's the way someone got into supporting Notts. It just shows, really, not even just that. I mean, when you say in the army, you've gone from being stationed in Germany in the army to being sent local football papers, to then going to Notts versus Forest, to then watching Les Brad score winner against Forest. I think that's quite a good story, in my opinion. In fact, you know what, actually, I think that's probably my favourite one, to be fair, so far.
Yeah, no, that is brilliant. I think that's a brilliant way to wrap the episode up on. I mean, that is incredible. Les Brad, obviously, what a record goal scorer, what a guy, and what a way to get a fan into the club. So thank you so much for listening. It's been episode 3. All the support is much appreciated, as we say. If you could subscribe below, follow on Spotify, and obviously follow us on X as well. All of the relevant links will be somewhere on your screen. Any parting messages before we go?
Look, just obviously keep supporting us. This is obviously something we're going to do every week. The more views, the better. The more... I mean, it sounds cliche, but obviously the more shares means more eyes. And look, we're doing this primarily off the fact that we wanted to start this podcast. Producer Charles wanted to start a podcast. Shout out Producer Charles, by the way, absolute legend. But yeah, obviously everyone knows it's no secret now. The media coverage of our club is a bit down there. Everyone always says, really, Tom, it's only me and you that push it currently. So look, just keep supporting it, and this is what we're here for. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for listening, guys.